we want to look at New Relic. New Relic is a performance management platform, right? It is a cloud-based software that helps websites and applications owners to track and monitor the performances of their services. Now, how do we bring New Relic into our environment? Right? We can go to the New Relic website by doing a search on Google, right? You see the options, you see newrelic.com. Then we can go to create a free New Relic account. So what we do, once we do this, we want to come in here to name, right? And put a name. You can say Ademola OO, right? I'll say Ademola OO, okay? Then I want to put my email account. You can say developers@techdon.ca. Okay. So I want to click on Start Now. So it says, check your email to verify your account. I will click on my email. I will click on Inbox. Do you have an email yet? Okay, I have the email now. So I want to check this email out. Right, I want to click on this email. Then I'll verify the email. So it says I should create a password. Right, I've created a password. So I want to save password. So now it's asking where I want my data stored. Let's see the options. There's Europe, there's the United States. United States is closer to where I am. So I select on that and I click save. Okay, so once we get here, I want to exit this, right? I want to come in here, look at the options I have. I do not intend to select any of these. So I want to come in here and go into New Relic itself, right? So now that I'm in here, I look at all these options. They could be overwhelming if you're looking at this for the start. So let's look at what we have. We have browse data. Okay. You have several options, right? But the options that you should focus on, let's click on this. The options that you should focus on, let's look at the options. Okay, so the options that you should focus on are synthetics. You can look at this. You can look at application APM, right? You can look at APM. You click on this, what do you see? It says, oh, you want to add an app or a service, right? Look at browser. You want to add a browser app to monitor. Look at logs, right? If you want to configure logs, right? But the most important one we should look at is the synthetics, right? Also, you could look at this mobile, right? If you want to track your mobile app, right? Which could either be, you can see Apple, you can see Android, okay? So you can close this here. So the most important we should look at is the synthetics, right? So you can click on synthetics here and see how you can create a monitoring set up a monitoring tool to check several options, right? Okay, now we have several options here. An option could be to check availability of your URL, right? You can see you might want to check the SSL certificate expiration. You might want to check page link crawler. You might want to check how well your page is loading, right? You can see several options. Anyway, let us look at we'll look at two options here. We'll look at page load performance, and we'll also look at checking availability, just to illustrate, right? There are several options we can use there, but the main thing is to explore and see what you can make out of it, right? So let's look at page load performance. Okay, so it's quite a simple process. All we need to do, I have a website here, right? I also have okay, I have my Tomcat server up, and I can see that I have some apps deployed. So I'm looking at checking this out, right? Let's see my DP. So let's see that it is up there. Okay. So this is what I have, my DP. So now this is a website, and this one is hosted on Tomcat, and this is a regular website hosted elsewhere. Okay, so now let's look at this, for example. If we want to monitor this website, what do we need to do, right? We can copy that, then go to our monitor, right? So let's say we want to create a monitor for Tomcat hosted. Let's just say this is the name, Tomcat hosted site, right? Let's just say Tomcat hosted, and this is, all right? So I want to leave the period at monitoring every 5 minutes, right? Then we can select locations. So let's just select a few locations. Let's say San Francisco. Let's say Mumbai, India. Let's select Dublin, Ireland. Let's select Australia, and let's take Cape Town. Yeah, 5 locations in all. And let's save this monitor and see what we get out of it. Now, we've looked at synthetics, and we've selected an option under synthetics. So you can see nothing's failed yet. So all we need to do is just wait a little, then refresh. We've selected 5 locations. No location, not applicable, nothing has been checked. Success rate is still 0%, right? And see the different locations we chose: San Francisco, Mumbai, Dublin. We also have Sydney and Cape Town, right? So let's refresh this and see what we have. Okay, 2 has been checked, no failure. Success rate is 100% so far. Everything is okay. So let's see. So 2 has been checked. Let's see the other ones. So let's refresh again. You can see the time here, 633 milliseconds max, right? For this check to be completed. And look at the graphs it's bringing up, right? Talking about usage, right? The option we chose was for usage. Let's look at that. Let's reconfirm. You can see we chose the options. Now you can see the display has changed, right? Because we've created something. So how do we get back to that view? If you click on synthetic monitor, right? So we are on synthetic monitor. You want to look at the different options. You come here, come to synthetics, right? Once you click synthetics, you see create monitor, right? So to create monitor, it means you want to look at something else, right? You can see these are the options. This is the page we got to when we came earlier. But because we've created something, it doesn't display this straight away any longer. So it comes to this page and gives us the opportunity to create monitor right here. So we just need to understand how to navigate around that. You can see the option we chose was page load performance, full page load of given URL, giving deep insights like resource breakdown and timelines. Okay, so this was the option we chose. Can we do this for a different website? Yes, let's click on this and do something for this website, right? So I want to copy this and come in here to monitor that as well and say, okay, this take down the regular one, right? So I want to select URL. I paste that URL I copied. Then I'll say 5 minutes, okay? I'll select locations as well. Select San Francisco, Mumbai, then I chose Dublin, Sydney, and Cape Town, okay? So I can save this monitor as well. So once we save it, we'll give you some time to start the monitoring. So it takes time, right? You can see, checking, nothing checked so far. Can click on refresh, right? But if we want to see everything that is being monitored, we can go to synthetic monitors. So it shows a list of what is being monitored. So from here, we can see all 5 locations has been checked, right? And nothing is failing. So 0 of 5 is failing. So if we click on this, we'll see that all 5 locations have been checked. You can see this Sydney, 0 failures, 2 checks. That's done the checks twice. You can see 633 milliseconds max. You can see Cape Town as well, 720 milliseconds. Mumbai, 666 milliseconds max. You can see other locations, Dublin, 235 milliseconds max, and San Francisco is 243 milliseconds max. So it shows that everything is okay. Now we can also see some graphical illustration showing performance timing, right, across. You can see performance timing, total requests by domain, average size by resource type, okay, images, you can see this images, HTML, so duration. So it's just shows the graphical representation of what performance is like. And you can see from here, you can identify each of those locations to see the timeline, right? So if you want to go back, let's go check the other monitor that we just set up. So what do we have? Okay, that's also completed. Let's see what we have for that. So you can see 9.69 seconds, 3.06 seconds, 1.68 seconds. These are the timing. Let's see, 2.13 seconds and 1.46 seconds. Okay, so it's done 6 checks now because Sydney has gone through the second check, right? There's no failure. So everything is okay. So now what other option could we have selected? So if we come to synthetic monitors, I want to come up here to select synthetics. Then I can create monitor, right? When I select create monitor, we've looked at page load performance, right? We can also look at availability, right? So if we click on availability, you can select monitor, right? So let's say we want to look at the Tomcat hosted one, okay? I can say copy that, then go back to my, what's the option I have here? I can come here and say Tomcat hosted. I can say this one is the ping, right? I want to check my availability. Okay, so I paste this here, then I can say maybe 5 minutes, every 5 minutes, then select locations. So you might want to be consistent, right? Because you just want to run across Dublin, Sydney, and Cape Town. Okay, so these are the 5 locations we've selected. So you can save monitor, right? Also, we can also create another one for this guy here, right? For this website. So let's create a similar monitor because it could take some time for the one we just created to be fully, okay, let's just wait it out, no rush, and see one check, right? 0 out of 1 failed, right? One check has been done. I see San Francisco, availability in 127 milliseconds, right? So let's refresh and see what we have. So we have that there. So let's look at the other one while this is working, right? We don't have to wait for it, right? Once we set it up, we can just come check it once in a while as needed. So let's click on synthetic monitors. We want to set up the other one, I mean the website, right? So we have, we'll need to come here and click on synthetics. So once we do that, we want to come and create a monitor, right? So availability is what we are trying to check. So what's this monitor? Let's just call this deck down, right? This one is the ping, right? We already have something on the other one. So we want to paste the web browser website. Okay, so I'll set this as every 5 minutes is fine, and select locations. So I want to select San Francisco, Mumbai, Dublin, Sydney, and Cape Town. All 5 of them. So let's save monitor. And hopefully the other monitor that we have running would have been fully, all 5 locations should have been fully checked on the other browser now, on the other monitor that we set up. So we have this checked, okay? One checked. So let's go back to the other guy, right? Synthetic monitors. Synthetic monitor. I want to click on this, right? Okay, no, that's Tomcat hosted ping, right? So only 3 is completed yet. Let's just click on that. 3 is completed, but let's look at the 3. So this one took 396 milliseconds. This one took 137 milliseconds. This one took 127 milliseconds, right? In terms of availability, then we are still waiting on Cape Town and which other one? We've seen Dublin, we've seen, okay, we are waiting on Cape Town and India, right? So let's see how long those are going to take. So while we are waiting for that, you can see the graphical representation showing request and response times, right? Showing connection times, right? Showing connection times and error response codes, right? So let's see what we have. So there's no failure. 0 of 3 failed. Okay, so let's see what we have. We are still on the 3rd one. Okay, but while we are looking at this, let's look at something, right? We realize that San Francisco has the shortest response rate in terms of availability check, right? So what does this imply? Shows us that out of all of these 3, the location of the server that we are connected to is likely closest to San Francisco. But we can check that out, right? You can see the distance to Sydney, Australia, right? Would have resulted to this length of time it's taking for the website to become available at that location. So now let's check where we are hosted, right? So you can see, let me select what is running. EC2 dashboard and check running instances. So we have Tomcat, right? Which is the server we are trying to connect to. So let's see, you can see location is Virginia, not Virginia, right? So that's the location. And this is in the US, right? So not Virginia, in the US. So let's look at what we have here. Let's see what we have. Has any other one been done? We have 0 of 3. Let's see whether we have 0 of 5 here. So it's taking time. So you can see San Francisco median time is 1:27. And you can see where we are connected to, right? North Virginia. So that shows that proximity matters. So if for some reason we want to increase availability time, right? For like Cape Town, you can see 461 milliseconds max. Okay, let's look at the other location. You can see Mumbai is also 371 milliseconds, right? So if for any reason we want to ensure that the performances here, right, improves to something like this, right? What are we going to do? We can create a new app server, another Tomcat server, right? We can create a new one in Cape Town, right? So that we can get a result similar to what we have here, right? Because this is all about proximity, right? So the closer you are to the region, the better for the availability of the application to the user. So if we want to resolve this issue and have a similar timeline as this, you need to set up a Tomcat server, right, in this location. Then you use the load balancer to route traffic from IP addresses close to Cape Town, IP addresses in Cape Town, to that new server, right? Remember when we looked at Nginx, we did load balancing, right? And we saw options for using IP addresses to redirect IP addresses, right? IP hashing, right? So also we can use the elastic load balancer, right, in AWS. So that's an option. So if we want something similar for Sydney, Australia, right, you want a similar result. So what do? We go to AWS and create a Tomcat app server. Yeah, let's look at where is closest. Sydney, Australia. So for Sydney, Australia, we can look at this, Asia Pacific, right? We need to come and create something at this location, right? Select this, okay? So also, if you want to achieve a similar goal for Mumbai, India, and Dublin, Ireland, respectively, what do we need to do? Let's see the options. So for Mumbai, India, we create an app server. Let's see, Mumbai, right? We have something here. There's something here, Asia Pacific, Mumbai. If we didn't have anything for Mumbai, we would have looked at the map to see where is closest to Mumbai, right? Then we would have selected it from here, okay? Now for Ireland, Dublin, we'll select this and create an app server here. So this is how we'll achieve speed in terms of availability and reduce any form of latency, right? So proximity is key in this game, right? To resolve an issue like this, in terms of availability, you look at the region that is closest, right, to the area you are looking at, and you use the load balancers to configure such that the IP address, the IP address determines the app server to be connected to. All right. Hope you had a great time. See you in the next session. Thank you.